name is Kaku and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So before we get into today's video, I just want to remind you all to follow me on my social media. I have my personal Instagram, my photography Instagram, and my photography website up on screen right now, and I will also have links to all three in the description below so you all can check them out after you watch today's video. So please be sure to check out those links, and if you are interested in having a FaceTime shoot, I am totally down to do that as well, and you can connect with me through my website. So with all that being said, let's get into today's video. On May 19, 2009, the popular television show Glee premiered for the very first time on American television, and this show was about a group of kids a part of the Glee Club, which, for those who don't know, is a singing show choir. And today, I'd like to talk about one of the show's most underrated characters, Mercedes Jones. Now, Mercedes, from the very beginning, was known as the powerhouse with the vocals, but was consistently put in the background because of the show's principal character, Rachel Berry. As a viewer and fan of the talent that Mercedes had in the show, it was really frustrating to see her always having to prove herself season after season, have these amazing solos and great duets, but she still never got her time to shine throughout the whole run of the show. With Glee having come out in 2009, of course, there were issues with many of the characters who weren't cis and white and the ways that they were portrayed and written, but speaking to my experience of living as a Black woman and also being a fan of Mercedes the character and understanding logistics and the way that Black characters are written on television shows, I found that there were certain things about her character that were really frustrating to watch that they very clearly could have changed and were aware of through the writing of the show. Now, for those who have yet to watch Glee, I suggest you click off this video because I am about to give spoilers, but an example of what I'm talking about is in Season 2, Episode 17, A Night of Neglect. Rachel and Mercedes have a conversation with one another talking about how Mercedes is consistently overlooked by Rachel even though she has just as much talent, if not more, and they have no idea why. And this is why the writers frustrated me deeply.
Just don't get it. Why are you a bigger star than me? You always get the big solos, the best songs, the moments in the sun. Why is it never me? I don't know.
Instead of using this moment of the character's realization in the injustice of Mercedes' talent being overshadowed, they consistently allowed Rachel to overshadow Mercedes. And I just thought it was very odd that in the show, the characters themselves realized that Mercedes was always being overlooked in the Glee Club. The writers did nothing to improve her being overshadowed for all the seasons that they were in high school from seasons 1 to 3. There was no improvement to expand Mercedes' character in the terms of her getting more shine with her talent, and I just could never understand why they never chose to do this while also making sure that the audience and the characters themselves were aware of this. Now, one thing that was positive that I think the writers did was the relationship that Mercedes had with Sam. A lot of the times with characters who are plus size and in relationships, a lot of the times the characters' relationships have to do with the person loving them despite of their weight, and I really liked that with Mercedes and Sam that was never even a topic, the size of her body. It was just a normal relationship like regular people who aren't plus size, and I liked that there was that aspect of normalcy and relatability with their relationship, even though I do feel like their relationship could have been a little bit more expanded, especially when it got to the seasons when they were adults. But for what we got, I kind of appreciate the way they were written. And can we just take a moment to bask in the power, the talent, the brilliance of Naya Rivera and Amber Riley duets? Mercedes and Santana singing together was chef's kiss, unreal, amazing, and some of the best moments of the show.
And it gets higher, day by day.
Another way that I feel that Mercedes' character was underutilized and not as well-rounded as it could have been is most of her story arcs are not primary to her. They are to prop up the other characters in the show, and a lot of the times it was in service to either Rachel or her best friend Kurt. There wasn't a lot of times where stories in the show were, central to just her, or at least starting with her. She did have a boyfriend and she did date Sam, which obviously has to do with her, but especially when it came to like competitions or singing, nothing ever started with her specifically. One moment where a storyline did start with her specifically is the storyline of her getting consistently frustrated with the lack of attention to her voice and her talent in the Glee Club, which resulted in her not being Maria in the West Side Story episode where her and Rachel were both auditioning for the role of Maria, and also when she ended up quitting the Glee Club because of a culmination of all of, I would like to say, disrespect, because I feel like she wasn't paid attention to enough considering how good she was. So she ended up leaving the Glee Club and going to be a part of a new group, the Trouble Tones. Now, this was a good part for her character and Santana's character as well, because both of them have really great voices and they got opportunities to shine outside of the Glee Club that just didn't offer them that while they were part of the club, because everything was all about Rachel and Finn. So that group gave them time to shine. Even though it wasn't very long in the show, I still think that was a great addition to help them have some shine. There was also that little feud that she had with Santana over Puck, which, I mean, can't say I agreed with it, but hey, we got the Boys Mind cover over it, so can't complain too much about that. What's interesting about Mercedes, and honestly other characters in the show Glee as well, is that despite her being one of the main characters in the show from season 1 to 6, even though of course in the adult season she wasn't as frequent in the show as characters like Rachel and Kurt, she still felt like a side character or a reoccurring character a lot of the times, because the show's so heavily focused on Rachel, Finn, and Kurt. There wasn't really a lot of room for her and the other characters to really feel well-rounded, and I feel like the only other character besides Rachel and Finn that really got the opportunity to be nice and well-rounded was probably Santana out of all the other, secondary characters on this show. And I feel like that's really unfortunate, because Amber Riley is extremely talented and they could have done so much more with the character Mercedes, but they just chose not to do it. And I guess the most annoying part for me as a viewer watching it was seeing how they were aware that they could have done better for this character and they just chose not to do it. And I feel like that's one of the not great parts about Hollywood, is that for so long, because people of color and minorities just did not have power and numbers to really voice their distaste and annoyance with the way that characters who portray us on TV were portrayed and written, we didn't get the opportunity to actually create change about it. And I feel like now we're in a place where we can actually affect change in the way these characters are shown. So of course, this being a show from the 2010s, the way she is just the way she is. She's not going to change. But hopefully, in the near future, producers, directors, writers can look at a character like Mercedes and see where she was done wrong and improve for characters that are going to be done in the future. So to finish off today's video, I just wanted to give a shout out to the actress Amber Riley and the singer Riley, as that's her stage name, and for all of you to check out her newest EP, Riley, that came out a couple months ago. If you're into R&B, it's a really great project. I really want you all to check it out and support her. It took her a long time to come up with this music, and I'm so happy she finally did, because it's a really great first step into her body of work. She's also an independent artist, so definitely go and support Amber and her music and all the other work that she's doing. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.